Maomao wasn't sure, but it did make her feel a little bit better. Chapter 12, Mother versus Son. About the time Jinchi was finishing breakfast, a man like a wild boar or a hem, that is, Basin, appeared. Jinchi was hardly even bothered by the duck that perched alternately on Basin's head and shoulders. Sadly, he was used to it by now. "What's going on? I could hear you coming all the way down the hall." Taomei was not pleased with her son. There was at least one other thing she might have chided him for, but sadly she too had grown accustomed. "Mother, I cannot stay silent with things as they are," Basin exclaimed. The duck gave a sympathetic quack and flapped her wings. "Who are you calling mother? We're at work here." She gave Basin a smack, startling the duck, which flapped away and right out of the room. It might have seemed a bit harsh, but this was how things were done in Gaoshun's family. Jinchi was used to this too. He still found it draining. "My goodness." Su'in put her hands to her cheeks and laughed. Chu was uncharacteristically silent, trying not to draw attention to herself. As usual, Baryu was secreted behind his curtain. Jinchi could hear paper shuffling back there, so he knew the man was getting ready to work. Gaoshun was out at that moment. If he had been there, he would have looked more pained than anyone by the behavior of his wife and son. "You are the royal bodyguard, Basin, you could stand to act like it," Taomei said. "A master is shamed when his servants make fools of themselves." "But Lady Taomei," Basin said, knowing better than to make the same mistake twice. Chu suppressed a smile at the mode of address he chose. "Tell me, can you stand by and watch this happen? The officials from the royal capital know to hold their tongues, but the administrators from this city mock the Moon Prince and say the most awful things. They say he's a leader in name but not in action. He could stand to learn a thing or two from Jiakuo." Taomei's hand rose again, this time the back of her hand. Chu yelped and put her hands to her cheeks, smooshing them together. Even Baryu was evidently interested enough to peek out from the gap in his curtain, although he was ultimately just an observer. "You will refer to the governor with respect. I don't care how low a piece of humanity he is, he still outranks you. If you give the slightest cause to upset him, you'll only sully the Moon Prince's name." Jinchi could tell Taomei was barely holding back her disgust herself. For better or worse, Jinchi had become more than used to enduring such mockery during his time as a eunuch, so the alleged taunts barely moved him. It would be counterproductive for mother and child to start fighting, so Jinchi stepped in. He could possibly have instructed Su'en to intercede as well, but she was looking directly at him. So it looked like he had to do it. "Will you both please contain yourselves?" he said. "But sir," they said in unison, for once in harmony, "your point is that I'm not viewed favorably in the Western capital." "Well, I knew that. What exactly is the benefit in getting upset about it?" Moon Prince Basin said. "You've done so much for this city and Sir Jiakuo is taking the credit. Shouldn't you make your work more visible? Do you think that would gain me anything?" Everyone in the room fell silent. First, Jinchi looked at Su'in. "We'd have to find you more bodyguards," she said. Then she turned to Taomei. "Shall I obtain Sir Jiakuo's permission?" "For form's sake," she said. Even for her, evidently, respect for Jiakuo stopped at Sir and didn't rise to the level of master. "We could send a doctor with you in the name of visiting the sick and the injured." An uncommonly sober suggestion from Basin. "I'd almost completely forgotten to worry about this recently, but how many people do we really have who can endure your countenance, Moon Prince?" Chu asked. "I think the shut-in life might actually be easier for you." Everyone else groaned audibly. "I would hate to have to clean up after you when brides and lovers have a change of heart after seeing you, Moon Prince." "It does terrible things to my stomach," Baryu muttered from behind his curtain. Once more they were all silent. It was quiet enough that a commotion could be heard outside. Another day, another fight was going on somewhere. At length Chu ventured, "How about this?" She took a belt out of Jinchi's chest of clothes and placed it in front of Basin. "Ah, so that's what you have in mind," said Su'in, who seemed to surmise everything Chu was saying from this one article of clothing. "What? What does she have in mind?" asked Basin, who certainly hadn't. Chu grinned. "The Moon Prince doesn't have to go outside himself. As long as it looks like he's doing something, everything is fine." Jinchi started to get Chu's drift. "Basin," he said. "Yes, sir. What is it? I grant you this belt. Put it on and go to work in my stead." "Sir," Basin said, staring at the belt in amazement. Chapter 13, A Visit to the Ill. Day 49. More medicine arrived, but it's not enough. We are also out of the dandelions that were filling in for tea leaves. Day 50, I was tasked with disinfecting bandages. These things are tattered rags now. We cannot use them anymore. We will have to collect any cloth people do not need. Day 51, Chu told me to keep tomorrow open. Day 52, an abandoned building near the city's main plaza has been turned into a simple clinic. They haven't started seeing patients yet, but there is already a line. The clinic was a lively place. They said they would see those sick and injured on account of the swarm for free, and it wasn't far from the food handouts. "Are you here to help Nianyang?" asked Dr. Lee. He was one of the mid-ranking physicians and a dedicated, if sometimes stubborn man. He had also picked up the wrong name for Maomao. He, Dr. Yu and Tianyu saw people at the clinic who had been hurt. This was Jinchi's doing. "It's Maomao," said Maomao. "Maomao, yes sir." Maomao, she repeated, wanting to make sure he got it right. She would have to correct Dr. Liu the next time she saw him. Thankfully, unlike Lahan's brother, she wasn't interrupted by the intervention of some higher power. "I knew anything might happen when we came to the western capital, but look at this." The dedicated doctor had been tanned dark by the sun, and days of continual work had left his cheeks thin. He looked more gaunt than slim, and there was a certain feral quality now added to the air of the overachiever he'd always possessed. "To answer your question, sir, yes, the Moon Prince ordered me here. Master Gen can't leave the Moon Prince's side, so I've come in his place. See, Maomao could learn a name too. She'd remembered the quack doctors. Even if he is here as a body double for my old man." This was one of the few places where she could use the quack's real name. In the clinic it was only her bodyguard Lehaku, Chu, Basin and Dr. Lee. She was just giving a quick hello. She felt bad putting the patients off. Maomao also wanted to keep it short, because Basin had already finished his introductions, and was looking around the clinic like he wasn't quite sure what to do with himself. There were 2 other guards posted just outside the room to keep him safe, and it was fair to say that even Basin might need bodyguards in this situation. That would put a person on edge. Basin wasn't dressed in his usual soldier's uniform, but in fancy clothes. He was wearing a belt Jinchi had given to him. It was a brilliant purple, using a dye derived from shells, not something a commoner would ever own. It was the perfect way of telling everyone how important he was. In sum, Basin had appeared on Jinchi's behalf to pay a visit to the sick and injured. "That's nice and all, but I'm not sure about this," Maomao thought. Everyone was suited to certain tasks and not to others. Yet she knew Jinchi couldn't exactly show himself in public right now. Dr. Lee looked at Maomao. "Tianyu told us you took point on refilling our medicine supply." "Oh, did he?" Maomao asked, mentally preparing herself to be upbraided for being unable to get them any real medicine. "The medications you sent over were all right, I suppose." "You are obviously working hard to find substitute ingredients." That was praise, she thought, as far as it went. "Is there something I can help you with, sir?" she asked. "If you want to do some work, we have no end of it. We need help washing bandages, boiling them, and treating the parade of patients injured in countless arguments, scuffles, fistfights, and brawls. Then there are the cases of scurvy and beriberi we have started seeing from malnutrition." "Understood, sir." "Should I consider the treatment of injuries to be the first priority?" Maomao put down her belongings and washed her hands. Injuries they could treat. About malnutrition they could do little or nothing. "I'll get to washing those bandages," Chu piped up. "What should I do?" Lehaku asked. "As a bodyguard, I'd like you to just have a seat and stay quiet." "A calming influence is what we need more than anything," Dr. Lee said. "Yes, sir." "I don't need to take up one of your seats, though," Lehaku said, standing near the door. What about me?" asked Basin, clearly discomforted by his unfamiliar status. He looked to Dr. Lee, clearly hoping for someone to give him orders. You, Master Basin." Dr. Lee, always the high-achieving type, didn't look sure what to say. He seemed worried that it would be rude to specifically tell Basin to do something. Basin comes from one of the named clans too, not to mention he was there as Jinchi's second-in-command. He wildly outranked Dr. Lee. "Perhaps you could have a seat over here and hand out medicine, Master Basin. I'll prepare the prescriptions, you just put them in bags and give them to the patients." All right. They couldn't put him to random chores or physical labor, so that was a pretty good compromise. "And try to say something comforting to them," Chu chirped. Like what?" "Oh, I want the people of Lee to be hale and healthy." "Something like that. A simple feel better wouldn't sound right coming from you, Master Basin." Even she saw fit to refer to her brother-in-law as master at that moment. "That's a good point." Emphasizing the people of Lee would be an excellent idea, Dr. Lee said. The way he said it caught Maomao's attention. "Where is Dr. Yu?" she asked him. "Dr. Yu is visiting patients who are unable to come to the clinic. He is from these parts, so he knows the lay of the land, I see." There was something less than friendly in Dr. Lee's tone when he spoke of the other physician. Maomao couldn't help herself. She asked, "Has something happened with Dr. Yu?" "It seems like something is on your mind." Normally it would have been a rude question, but at the moment Dr. Lee seemed to be looking for someone to complain to. Dr. Yu isn't a relative of Master Jiakuo, even though they share the same name, but the average patient is apt to think he is. He is a superb physician, but he has never had a mind for politics. That is the problem. Ah, Maomao clapped her hands. In other words, people would think the doctor was related to the governor, and although he wouldn't mean to, Dr. Yu would implicitly affirm it by failing to deny it. And the more patients he saw, the more credit would go to his relative Jiakuo and not to Jinshi. She wondered if they had made a bad choice bringing him along. No, he had been the right person for the job when they had started out. It was only the timing that was bad. Thinking of the people they had brought along reminded her of someone else on the medical staff. "Where is Tianyu?" she asked. "He is attending Dr. Yu today on account of his superb surgical and sewing skills." Maomao was well aware of Tianyu's accomplishments in this area. The way he had handled the surgery on Jiakuo's granddaughter was exemplary. Maomao had removed the girl's stitches and hadn't seen her since then. Still, Tianyu was the youngest man on staff, and they seemed intent on taking full advantage of him. "All right," Dr. Lee said. "There are patients waiting for us. May I go ahead and open the clinic?" Maomao and the others nodded. Just as Dr. Lee had warned them, they were inundated with patients. People were eager to take advantage of the opportunity for free medical care. Even soldiers on duty showed up, so the staff had little chance to rest. Dr. Lee handled most of the examinations, while Maomao and her companions did whatever he told them. Depending on a person's condition, Maomao would treat their injuries or dispense the appropriate medicine. Basin still looked uncomfortable, but he offered words of comfort and encouragement and successfully bagged the medicine for the patients. Once he seemed to be getting the hang of it, Maomao handed him paper and scissors. She asked him to cut paper for the medicine packets if he would be so kind, and he did quite successfully. He thought it was better than sitting around empty-handed while everyone else worked so hard. Maomao didn't want the patients to see him doing simple tasks, so she put him somewhere he wouldn't be seen. He could work when he needed to. In fact, Basin was doing just as well as any civil official. The problem for him was that, as Jinshi's right-hand man, people simply assumed he should be able to do 3 times as much work as anyone else. This made him look bad in every comparison. It was a difficult situation. Given his military background, and then his assignment as a direct subordinate to the emperor's younger brother, it just seemed like he should be able to handle this kind of thing. It didn't help that Geishun probably did do all this stuff effortlessly. Chu had a funny way of working. She seemed to shuffle and fidget and move around far more than was necessary. The strange thing was she nonetheless worked very quickly. She disinfected a whole pile of bandages in the morning. Then, with Maomao's help, she set about concocting lunch out of whatever was available. Sometimes she would stop to do a magic trick to delight a young patient. The one who really had time on his hands was Lehaku. As the bodyguard, his entire job involved standing at the doorway. Chu sometimes had the other 2 guards assist with tasks, but Lehaku usually stood watch the entire time. "Man, I look like a bump on a log," he said. He laughed a little, but he was actually serving an important purpose. Dr. Lee, despite looking weathered, was much thinner than most of the Westerners. He had mentioned many rough types visited the clinic for quick exams. Having a 189-centimeter man standing by the door, even if he was mostly still, was a useful deterrent. And if a visitor seemed likely to start trouble, Lehaku would quietly move closer, which was a big help. It wasn't so bad if they went after Maomao or Dr. Lee, but if someone tried to bother Basin, that would be a real problem. He was there as Jinshi's personal representative, so they couldn't have him losing his temper. And besides, if anyone was going to come off worse in a confrontation, it would be the patient. They almost certainly would not beat Basin in a contest of strength. They would be lucky to get off with just a broken bone or 2. Worse, Maomao did not know exactly what the laws were in the Western capital, but laying hands on a member of the imperial family or even his representative seemed like a beheadable offense. In any event, things went on until Dr. Yu and Tianyu got back. "We're back," Dr. Yu called as if entering his own home. His tanned skin did indeed make him look like a local. Tianyu came behind him looking a bit ragged. The first to answer was Chu. "Welcome home, good sir. Will you do some exams, or have a bite to eat, or maybe do some exams?" She did not seem to know the meaning of the word tired, and her friendly greeting contained a less than subtle message that Dr. Yu should keep working. "I would love something to eat, but I'm sure Dr. Lee hasn't eaten yet either, has he?" We're not going to have any food, Tianyu groaned. He was tired. He carried some tools in his right hand and a cloth-wrapped package in his left. He might be smart-mouthed and occasionally obnoxious, and Maomao might not always know what he was thinking, but apparently he couldn't get the better of Dr. Yu. Frankly, Maomao loved to see it. Let's break for a meal then. You've got 30 minutes, Chu said, clapping her hands. Who had made her the MC? Great, what's the side dish? Tianyu asked. Side dish, we should be so lucky. Miss Chu took everything there was and put it all into this meal. Miss Chu's special homemade fried rice. The secret to the flavor is the stash of dried mussels they keep around to go with their booze. With a SHWP, she whipped out a ladle and a plate and struck a pose. Yes, the fried rice was basically made with leftovers, but with the condiments, spices, and fried egg, it looked pretty appealing. Chu always claimed she preferred eating to cooking, but she could clearly handle herself in the kitchen. For a drink, you have a choice of watered-down grape juice or goat's milk. The water is looking a little cloudy, so I wouldn't recommend it. That was good advice. There were grasshoppers floating in the well. Chu had been straining them out as she did the washing. Maybe we need to distribute drinking water too, Maomao thought. If people drank contaminated water, they would only get sick. Maybe that explained where all the diarrhea medicine had gone. People need to at least filter the water and ideally boil it. In point of fact, washing and boiling the bandages was quite a luxury in the Western capital. Water and fuel were both more precious there than they were in the central region. The water, obviously, but as for fuel, charcoal and firewood were scarce. What there was plenty of was animal dung. Coal, huh? In the central region, people thought of coal as a substitute for firewood or charcoal at best. People here in Aisei province would value the resource very differently. It might be worth so much to them that they would actually dig it out of a mountain to use it. Gold and silver had to be mined. There was no substitute for them. But at least no one in the central region would think to dig something out of the earth when there were trees all over that were exactly as good. The people of Aisei province, though, wanted a fuel source that wouldn't run out. They wanted something they could use on a grander scale than livestock excrement. There certainly were advantages, but were they enough to go to war for? There must be something better. Maomao let out a groan just as someone clapped her on the shoulder. Miss Maomao, Miss Maomao. You seem to be lost in thought a lot these days. Your mind's way off somewhere. Miss Chu, am I really that zoned out? Yeah, or well, anyway, you seem to sigh a lot. Maomao put a hand over her mouth. All right, come on, Miss Maomao. Let's have something to eat. And I think Dr. Yu has something to say to Basin. Huh, I'm sure that'll be fun. Oh yes, it will be very interesting, no doubt. Maomao sometimes thought she and Chu didn't mean the same thing when they said things like this. When Maomao got to the table where the fried rice was laid out, she found a smiling Dr. Yu and a rather unhappy-looking Basin. Tianyu plainly wanted to hurry up and eat, but he could not touch the food before they did. Apparently even he understood the basic rules of etiquette. Ha ha ha, so you are his substitute, Sir Basin, Dr. Yu asked him. May I ask what exactly is so funny about that? Basin replied. Things between them seemed tense. Maybe they should have brought the duck to keep the mood light. Maomao elbowed Chu. Yes, what's the matter? Do they know each other or something? Maomao whispered. No, I think this is the first time they've met, Chu whispered back. So what kind of person is Dr. Yu? Ooh, Miss Chu would also like to know. Oh, don't do that, just tell me. I promise I'll suggest a walk around town. Oh, that's a great idea. Chu tended to follow Maomao whenever she went out. She seemed to love gambling around the city, so she was quick to take Maomao up on this plan, as Maomao had guessed. Dr. Yu is a real upbeat go-getter, very dedicated to his work. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He makes quick friends with anybody, but I don't think he'll ever truly understand my husband, even if he lives to be 100. That's because he's a man of the light. Even Maomao hadn't really seen Chu's husband, Basin's older brother. She feared she might go mad if she got too close to someone who raised her hackles like that. What do you mean he wears his heart on his sleeve? She asked. Just like Dr. Lee said, he doesn't seem to have any interest in politics. He knows the climate and the lay of the land in the Western capital, and is an excellent doctor. He has no interest in politics. He was an excellent choice for this trip. Was, past tense, because there had been a miscalculation. Who could have predicted a sudden grasshopper plague, and that the Moon Prince wouldn't care about his reputation, and that Master Jayukyuan's oldest son would be extremely popular here? So Dr. Yu, he's a fine person who would certainly never betray the Moon Prince. Maomao found that reassuring, although she wasn't entirely sure why. If she felt better, there was one person who didn't seem convinced. What are you after here? Asked Basin, managing to act calm although his nostrils had flared noticeably. What am I after? echoed Dr. Yu, looking genuinely befuddled. Yes, you've come here on the Moon Prince's orders, but what about the prince's reputation in the Western capital? It's not just the food for the handouts. The Moon Prince's generosity is the whole reason you have this clinic, isn't it? Yes, certainly. He is a man of great discernment. Every time I look around, I'm reminded that the fact that the Western capital is so quiet despite that terrible plague is thanks to the Moon Prince. You almost sound as if this isn't the first grasshopper plague you've experienced. Like you know what's happening, and that's why you are so relaxed, Basin said. It was exactly what Maomao had wanted to ask, and she energetically applauded him in her mind. No, not as if. I've seen plenty of swarms in my time. You have, Dr. Yu.